The New York Times article, part two. You know, the New York Times, people have to understand something else about this situation. The major stockholder in the New York Times is Carlos Slim. He's the one in control of Mexico. He's the one who backed Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, and he's the one who backed Claudia Sheinbaum, he and his tribe. The Harp Helus and the Slim Helus and the Marats are all part of the same little group of people. Sheinbaum too. So my question is, why at this time is Carlos Slim allowing his newspaper to come out with these articles against the Mexican government as it, being a narco government? Something must have happened internally between them where they had some problem, and now Carlos Slim is taking his revenge or something like that. But I want people to consider a couple other things. That's just a an introduction to this video. Why is the New York Times now attacking the New York government? Why is the New York Times now attacking the Mexican government if Carlos Slim's in control of the New York Times? But there's a couple other things that I want to mention. This isn't just a Morena problem. This isn't just a AMLO problem or an Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador and Claudia Sheinbaum problem. This problem has been going on for a long time. Gosh, when was that? I think it was back in like 2015, something like that, where El Chapo, the Peña Nieto government, the Priista government, all of a sudden rolled up on a house there in Sinaloa and caught a couple of pounds of marijuana and some guns and $114 million in cash all sitting there, nice, neat little pile for him. What do you think that was? You want to talk about some corruption? Holy shit, that was a payoff. That was El Chapo paying off the Peña Nieto government, and I'll tell you why. Because that $114 million in cash, where'd it go? We always hear the news reports of the Mexican government saying, Gobierno Federal para vivir mejor, which means federal government to live better. Well, yeah, maybe that's a psychological trick too. Anybody can live better than poverty. But the Mexican government doesn't say Gobierno Federal para vivir bien, which means federal government so you can live well. So when they got to that little house there, that $114 million in cash, man, it disappeared pretty fast. Do you think it got to anybody who was in need of it? No. The general population, did they benefit from it? No. It was a payoff to high up functionaries in the Mexican government. All right, it's just a straight up. Everybody in Mexico knows. I don't know, what the rest of the world thinks, but it's not just a narco government. It's a really sinister government that's been in existence for a long time. And just because the name changes of who's the president doesn't mean anything. I'm going to give you two examples. A couple years ago, 2020, in Oaxaca, in a village, 18 women were killed, execution style. Never reported on the international news. It wasn't even really reported on a national level either. I happened to find out about it because I lived in Oaxaca, and a friend of mine came to my ranch at that time and said, "Hey, this horrible thing happened in this other town in Oaxaca." I was like, "That is just terrible. How does that even happen? 18 women from the same tiny little tiny little village killed. No forensic examination, no, investigation, who done it. Nobody gave a shit. Seriously, just terrible. Like if in the United States, 18 women were killed in a town, execution style, my government would not let that go. There would be an investigation, the killers would be brought to justice, there would be no chance of it just being, brushed under the rug and forgotten about. Okay? But I want you to all consider something else. So that's just one example. Another example is this same group of people in control of the government, they're trafficking organs. they're part of an organ trafficking ring where they go to these hospitals and they basically harvest organs, especially from children, poor children, and those organs are then sold to rich people across the world. I would never have found out about this if I didn't have my own daughter who was at risk of this happening to her. And because of this almost happening to her, I became aware of it, and I'm attacking it, and I'm going to expose it because, yeah, narco government, that's pretty bad. But you know what? Are we ever going to really stop people from doing drugs? You know, just okay. That's an issue. But you know what's a worse issue? When you're stealing people's organs. It's just not correct. And that's where I take exception to the whole thing, and I say, put a freeze on this thing, pause, and let's resolve this problem. Let's get rid of these people who are corrupt because they're committing heinous crimes against the public. And they're trying to cover it up and pretend that they're good. You know, go to any psychologist and ask them, what's bipolarism? I'll tell you what bipolarism is. When you got a politician who wakes up in the morning and says, vote for me, I'm the good guy, I'm a superhero, I'm going to correct all the problems. And then by the afternoon, he's got his hand behind his back. Give me a bribe, pay me off, I'm going to do this, that, the other thing to let the drugs pass and get the organs for you. That's a pretty sick person. In fact, that's most politicians, including my country, especially maybe in my country. So we're really suffering from an international crisis, not just a national crisis, of these bipolar politicians screwing up the world for us. And all for what? So people like Donald Trump can go play golf and sit on their yachts and go, I got her good. Give me a break. That's not called civilization. Civilization means a group of people with a common purpose striving for a good thing to make the world a better place, as far as I'm concerned. But these people have some other thought in their head about what it's all about because they're selfish, they're greedy, they're arrogant, and they're assholes. New York Times, well, I'll go back to it. Why now is it choosing to come out with this information against AMLO? AMLO is an acronym for Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. And why is it coming out against Claudia Sheinbaum? It's very interesting. Because if the New York Times is controlled by a Mexican national named Carlos Slim, they shouldn't be saying jack shit. But we've got a problem. Because if Mexico is a narco government, that means the U.S. Congress is going to cut all its subsidies and military. Every year there's like $100 million in free military credit given to Mexico. Just give them the helmets, give them whatever they need. That's all going to get canceled. But not only that, if Mexico devolves into a terrible state of corruption and somebody like Donald Trump gets elected, he could just choose to invade Mexico and take over because there's not a viable government here. So it's very interesting to me that the New York Times comes out with just a part of the story. And if they have all these investigative reporters and all of these resources at their disposal to uncover the truth, how is it they haven't done it, but I have? I mean, seriously, give me a break. The same secret society is in control of everything. Just type in Sinclair Broadcast Group. The Sinclair family controls almost 80% of all media in the United States, and that's the group that got Donald Trump elected the last time. Well, that time in 2016. So yeah, don't believe everything, and uncover the rest of the truth yourself if you have to, before you believe anything. Leopold Richard Bamberger Alavizos reporting to you about the true situation going on.